Welcome to the Blogging and SEO show. I'm Michaela, a stay-at-home mom of 3 who just happens to be in love with everything related to SEO, blogging, marketing, coffee, and shedding light into the many mystifying corners of search engine optimization and what that means for us service providers, small business owners, and even bloggers. We're ditching the do-it-all narrative surrounding SEO and blogging and just sitting down and crafting strategies that are sustainable but still get us those first-page, long-lasting results. Now let's get cozy, grab your fave sweater and a cup of tea or coffee, and let's talk everything blogging and SEO. Hello, and welcome back to the Blogging and SEO show. Okay, I don't know where that came from, but I'm not really digging it, but I like it, I guess. It's working. Today, I wanted to talk about a term. And the reason this is on my mind is because not too long ago, I worked with a sales coach. And one of our biggest headbutts, I would say, is the term optimize, which is kind of crazy to me. But the situation came up because I was working on a little intro deck, per se, to use when we're on calls. Because I will say, a lot of business owners tend to know what SEO is to a certain extent, but don't know what it means or know that it's needed and have a general idea of what it does, but doesn't know the nitty gritty. I've been recommended to do SEO for my website, but I really don't, I'm not connecting the dots there. I don't know what that has to do with anything. And so the little intro deck just kind of helps with that. And we bring those, connect the dots before any money is invested, or we take it a step further because I love to make sure that we're on the same page and that you have clarity around the concept, and at least enough to know what's happening, why it's happening, and when. If you so want to. Now, some people are like, I know I need SEO. Let's go ahead and do it. I don't need to know all the nitty-gritty details. I just want to see us get from this point A of not having SEO to point B of having SEO and getting the visibility and doing the thing. But back to this word optimize. This was such a point of contention because it was deemed too complicated. And we went back and forth because I was like, I don't know what you mean it's too complicated. Because no matter how I tried to simplify it, there was not a replacement for it. There just wasn't one. I was just like, ma'am, there's nothing in my brain that can replace this. I've looked for synonyms. I've checked definitions, and there's nothing I can think of. And the main reason is because SEO literally means search engine optimization, or to optimize your website and content for SEO, or for search engines, not for SEO. But that was kind of the whole root of this issue. I mean, I don't really want to call it an issue. It was just, a stopping point because we could not figure it out. We were both just wondering, how do we take this down? And it also comes down to, we're optimizing your website for SEO, but optimize does not mean one thing. Optimize is an all-encompassing term for everything that we do for search engines. I mean, even the term SEO is a little confusing because SEO is search engine optimization. It's kind of like an action. But also, if we were to use proper terms, you would call me an SEO because I optimize for SEO. It's just, it is one of those terms that just leaves you wondering why. But there are a lot of things in the English language that leave us wondering why. But there's no one phrase or word that I've found that can sum up the results of optimizing your website more than optimize. And it's because SEO includes so many different working pieces. It's not, technically we're fixing your website, but in all cases it's not fixing, because fixing implies that something is broken. And it's not necessarily, in an SEO audit optimization, yes, we're looking for things that are broken to fix. That is a part of the process, but it's not the only part of the process. we're also looking for places where we could enhance it. I don't really like that word, but it really is enhancing. So maybe it's you do have a keyword strategy, but in the SEO audit optimization, we're looking at finding a better keyword, or tweaking your keyword, or tweaking your title, or tweaking your meta description to better serve your keyword and your audience and make sure that Google can read it too. It could look like, okay, the way my website is viewed on mobile is good, but through an optimization, we make it great. So you go from maybe 4 seconds to 2.5 seconds, or from 3 seconds to 1.5. And we find these little ways to optimize its performance. We could be editing copy, adding clarification here, or making sure that your keywords are integrated. We could be looking at your conversion. Are your buttons placed correctly? Where are your buttons placed? How is it spaced? All of these things go into SEO. But not all of these things have a singular word to describe them except for optimize. Because it's so many things, honestly. And it's not just that we're doing this once either. We're not taking step by step by step. We're going backwards and forwards. We're checking, we're double checking and triple checking, your content, web pages, sales pages, home, your about, your contact, and everything in between to make sure it's all ready for, not really already, but that it's all at a point where when Google goes to crawl your web page, which is what it does when you publish it, or you can ask it to do so if it's not already, but it crawls your website and web page to see what it's about and who it's for, and if it should be placed in its ranking system in the search, and where it should be placed. What we're doing in an SEO optimization, when search engine optimization, is making it where Google can do that without any hiccups, without any oops, without any distractions. It's going there and it can find exactly what it's looking for so that you can show up on Google and continue to increase your ranking. Because Google can crawl your webpage and decide that, I don't really know if this belongs in a search. Or, okay, I've crawled it and I've indexed it and I've said, okay, this page exists. I know what it's about, but I don't think it belongs here or there or anywhere. And there's a lot of reasons that Google could decide it. It could have been the button placement, because button placement determines user experience, and user experience influences SEO. It could have been that your keyword was off, so you landed in front of the wrong audience, and Google was like, well, this doesn't quite make sense. It could be that your images are missing all image descriptions, and because, your competitor or the person currently ranking for the keyword you targeted already has a perfectly optimized web page, or at least optimized more than you do, and has a good user experience, that Google decides that I don't want to rank that one. I'm going to just keep what I got. It's all of these little working parts that come into having to do your website that go into SEO, which is why I had such a hard time of letting go of the optimization. It's in the action. It is search engine optimization. Whew. When I say we had this discussion for weeks, But I'm kind of glad that we did, because it really made me think about it. It made me think about, well, why would this be determined a little bit too complicated? And it's because, so much does go into it that if you don't know what goes into it, it just feels like a blanket term. It feels like, okay, they're optimizing it, but what does that mean? Because I'll tell you that, if someone sat down and said, well, we're going to optimize your sales process, I'd be like, what do you mean optimize it? Like, which portion are we working on? I don't know if my brain would immediately go to, oh, we're going to cover it all. And that's what it is with SEO. When we say, we're going to optimize for search engines, like, what does that mean? It means we're going to cover it all. We're going to cover from point A to point B. We're covering from, the strategy, the keywords, the structure of your website to, your content, the off-page strategy. Like, it's all encompassing. But I hope that clarified a little bit, and if I confused you more, I am oh so sorry. I promise the whole purpose was clarity. But you can, if you did feel a little bit more confused, you can reach out to me on Instagram at commonmama.co, and I'm happy to have a back and forth to try and explain the concept. It can get very confusing about all the moving pieces, and if, because we can feel also really confident in our website, especially if we've recently had it done. But the truth of the matter is just that, what you see is but the truth of the matter is what you see is not the only thing. I've been on websites, and I'm currently in the middle of an audit and optimization for another website that looks amazing. Her website looks good. Her website is functional on the surface. But during a preliminary, just come through, she has stuff floating everywhere, but it's not visible to the naked eye. So even though she's been spending a year on her SEO strategy, doing the content, turning her podcast into SEO optimized blogs, keeping up with everything, doing, PR and building backlinks on other websites to her website, her growth has not changed. So she's been investing more and more into her SEO without realizing that the foundation she was essentially building her house on, was not good, that it was kind of rotted. So we're spending this time fixing that foundation for her. But the growth that she could have experienced in this past year would have been amazing if her foundation just would have been built right in the first place. And like I said, she didn't know because everything looked fine. She trusted her designer to do the job, and they didn't. So it came back and unfortunately bit her in the butt. But anyways, she'll have that all fixed here soon. Oh, thank goodness. But what you see is not always everything, and you don't know what you don't know. So just keep that in mind moving forward, that not everything is as it seems. But anyways, like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. If you have any questions, please go ahead and reach out. I'm happy to answer. Now that our episode is over, I did want to share some fun news with you. I feel like I have so much coming up and so much going on, but it's all good things. And yes, I'm just excited to share. And I'm kind of nervous because part of it includes something that I've never done before, at least not in this format. But I'm super confident. I have a nice little team of support for the launch. And yes, it is a launch. When I say I'm excited, I'm very excited. But first, I would like to invite you, if you're interested, I will be in the Moms Who Podcast Summit next Monday. The summit opens next Monday and will continue for about a week or two that you can get access. But I've contributed a webinar that will walk you through SEO and blogging for podcasters. So it's very, very valuable if you are looking to create consistent content and start showing up on Google, but your main platform or way you show up is a podcast. Also, which that kind of ties into, I'm going to be hosting another challenge. So we're going to have a 3-day challenge towards the end of February, but you'll get access to me for the whole week just for feedback and, just chatting and chit-chatting and doing all the things. And I'm so sorry for my awkwardness, but this is who I am, and you have to love me for it. I'm doing a 3-day challenge, and we're going to go through the steps of picking your podcast episodes that you want to turn into blog posts or blurbs, which we'll talk about blurbs then too, picking out your keywords, and then optimizing said post for SEO. We're going to walk it through a little process over the 3 days, and I'll be helping you pick out your blog post. We'll have a little community for it. It's going to be fun, I promise. So if you want to do that, stay tuned because I'll have a little sign up here soon. Okay, so lastly, I just wanted to announce that we're going to be doing a group program. This is new to me, but I am very excited. It's going to be called Pod to Blog, and it's a 12-week program taking your podcast episodes into SEO optimized blog posts. Early bird access will start February 1st, and if you've made it this far, DM me, I will send you the link, and will only last for about 2 weeks, I think I have on my schedule to grab it. Yes, there are payment plans available. Okay, this is the first time, and I think it's going to go so well, and I know it's going to be so valuable, but I'd love to see you there. But that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. As always, I hope you were able to learn at least one new thing today and how you can apply it to your own business or blog. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Blogging and SEO Show. Don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss the next episode. I promise it's a goodie. And check the show notes for everything we talked about today. And come connect with me on Instagram at kamamama.co. If you have any questions or thoughts you want to share, DM me. Let's chat. Until next time, talk soon.